Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal detective. We have a massive problem going on right now called a pandemic, COVID-19 to be specific. Now, being a spiritual guide, I have found a number of things. Let's understand a few things first. I don't watch the news. There's a lot of things I don't do. But this is literally targeting the people that are either saying they're a spiritual guide or they're a religious leader. I am so tired of hearing about people in these positions going, COVID-19 won't affect us because we believe in God. Well, guess what? I believe in God probably better than most. Okay. On top of everything else, I grew up in the church, so understand my reference point is Christianity. But it applies to every religion out there. I've looked into the religious guidelines on numerous different religions. I've talked to numerous different people over the years and found out one very critical factor. In everybody's belief, whoever they call God, is there, and the way it was put to me is God loves everyone. It's not a question of God loves only the people that worship Him. God loves everyone. I saw it put on the internet one day, and it was priceless to me. Understanding Christian based, work with it. Okay, I'm sure with the different faiths they have similar setups because they all have similar belief patterns and similar guidelines. Okay, but understanding the whole concept of Christianity and the issue of Jesus. Okay, now there was a post on Facebook one day that said it had Jesus sitting on the hill, and he had all of his disciples sitting around him. And Jesus goes, God loves all his children. And the disciples around him are sitting there and they go, but what if they're not Christian? What if they're Muslim? What if they're Buddhist? What if they're gay? And the third panel shows Jesus sitting there going, did I stutter? God loves everyone. The fact you believe in God does not make you immune from God. Okay, if you believe that God created everything, okay, this virus is part of what God creates. Therefore, if it's here, He didn't put it here for the good of your specific health. If that were the case, if it was targeting only non-Christians, you wouldn't have a bunch of Christian people either dead or ill because of COVID. Okay, it's not like the virus turns around and says, "Oh, do you believe in and call God or Jehovah, or do you call him something else?" Okay, the virus doesn't care. Okay, it doesn't look at your ID, it doesn't look at what your address is, it doesn't pay any attention at all to what gender you are. Or for those geniuses out there that go, if you're not male or female, you're not something. What are called, and I don't know if it's the right term, so my apologies if it's not, but what I understand as called transgender, meaning partway between the two, or, there's a number of other terms, but when we talk about God loving everyone, it means everyone. It doesn't mean everyone, but it means everyone. Okay. Now, there's all kinds of ways of looking at it, but the biggest way to look at it is if you're alive, if you're breathing, if you're on this planet, COVID is a threat. You don't have to know where it came from. You don't have to know what's going on with it. You have to know one thing. It is a threat, and it does not differentiate between any individual type of people. Okay. Now, I caught wind a while ago about some religious leaders going, "You're interfering with our religious freedoms. We should be allowed to gather in congregation." That's a cute thought. And in a sense, I kind of like it, but I'm twisted. You should have the right to gather in congregations. Sure. Okay, but here's the thing. Everybody has the right to, to hurt themselves. But should you have the right, with your religious freedom, to put everybody on the planet at risk? Not just in your neighborhood. And it won't just be one type of people. It is everybody. Understand that term. It means all inclusive. Not missing any of them. Yourself included, by the way. Now, we know that, and we know this because of the number of people, like, the way it was put to me was, if you don't have physical evidence, you look at the circumstantial. Okay, now, circumstantial evidence is this. Forget whether you believe anything. Circumstantial evidence says COVID-19 is a massive pandemic. Every country on the planet, as far as I understand it, is doing the same thing. They are self-isolating, they are stopping travel. They're all, for the first time in recorded history, they're all agreeing on the same thing. They didn't all agree during World War II. Everybody on the planet did not agree. Everybody on the planet agreed, like all of the countries, never mind the individuals. All of the countries agree with the same thing. All of the religions agree with the same thing. Okay. And that is that COVID-19, regardless of where it came from, is here. This is the time that, as spiritual guides, as religious leaders, you need to get off your backside and start telling the people, we will address your spiritual needs, but we're going to do it with you at home and us at home. Okay, the fact you're looking at this says the video technology exists to do it. There are a number of programs out there. I am no technological genius. Okay, but what I have figured out is that there are certain things that do work. We know video works. Now, for those of you that are praying for things to work, I will tell you, it's great. It really is. I pray all the time. I've been praying for decades for people to start working together. Sad to say, the way that worked is a virus is now here, COVID-19, that every single religion, every single country out there is working together, trying to stop it. Okay, the religious leaders that are out there going, it's not going to happen to us, you're my congregation, therefore God will protect you. You're not that special. You really aren't. Okay, I'm glad you've got faith. I'm glad you're out there trying to help people. I really am. But you ain't that special. The reality is, God loves all people, not just you and your congregation, not just you and your friends, not just you and your social club. This virus is here, and for the first time in modern recorded history, people across the planet are working towards the same thing. Now just think, if mankind can actually do that, because you'll notice, with COVID here, we have an interesting situation. Everybody's talking about World War III. Let's get together. Let's fight. Let's complain about who's got what. Let's whine about color or about the lack of money you've got in your bank or how much your stock has dropped. You know what? If you're dead, it won't matter. And God may reward you and say, oh, when you get up to the pearly gates or wherever you believe you go, you may luck out and God says, oh, you were a great person. Welcome aboard. By the way, you're still dead. So all those little physical luxuries don't matter at all when you're dead. You really don't care. Okay. I literally have told my own kids, what happens to me after I'm dead doesn't really matter to me. I'm dead. All your rights, all your beliefs, doesn't matter. The religious leaders out there. Okay. If you honestly believe in what you call God, whether you call him God, Allah, or something else, I don't know. Okay, unfortunately, I'm not as well versed as I probably could be. Well, as I certainly could be. What I am well versed in is I'm 57 years old. For 47 years, I've been showing people this is what you've got to be looking at. And I've been praying almost every day for God to figure out a way to get people to work together. Well, he figured out a way, all right. You've got a virus that's killing people from every walk of life, from every background possible. Okay, nobody is immune to this. Well, that's not true. Some are. But nobody is immune to the effects of it, as in the losses that happen from people around you. Okay, so religious leaders. Now, bear in mind, a religious leader is not just a priest, a pastor, a rabbi. It's anybody that is out there, a spiritual leader, I should say, does not refer to only mainstream religions. If you're out there claiming to be a spiritual guide, okay, if you're still focusing on pointing fingers and saying, there's what the cause is, there's what, this is what's being taken away from you. Well, here's what's being taken away. COVID-19 is killing people. What's being taken away is life. Never mind freedom. Freedom's totally useless once you're dead. Because rest assured, and you'll have to take my word for this one, once you're dead, there's more rules to follow. But while you're here, survival means working with each other. Knock off the idea that dropping that opening up the borders and everything going back to the world you knew is gone. The world you knew, the world you grew up with, is gone. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you're standing in front of your pulpit, whether it's dining room table and you're looking at a video, or you happen to be down at your church or your temple and you're working from there, hopefully you're working from there on your own video broadcasting. There's enough units, enough systems out there that can be done relatively easily. Now, I am no genius where it comes to technology, and I can do this. Okay, I have tried, and apparently failed, to stay on a very positive factor. But unfortunately, giving people tools, people talk about desiring change, but the greater majority of people have one of two problems. Either they've got no clue how to change, which is why a number of the videos that I do are of the point of, here's how you can deal with it. These ones on COVID, I'm being essentially, by circumstance, shall we say, coerced into looking at this side of, people, wake up. It is time to realize that COVID doesn't have an agenda. It does not care whether or not your bank account looks good. It could care less about what your investment is doing or what your property is worth. And it sure is not paying any attention to your color or your religious alignment. As a spiritual guide, start getting this message through. Okay, absolutely watch my videos to the end, especially the ones that are marked things like COVID update, COVID insight, COVID a reality check. These are all things that I am putting online for the benefit of as many people as possible. Now, here's the reality, in my opinion. I'm not that special. I'm really not. But if my doing this can save one person, okay, then I've done my job. And the reality is, with the number of people claiming to be spiritual guides and religious leaders and what have you, with the number of them out there, you'd think more people would be getting the message. You would think that people would be working together a little bit more readily. What I'm finding is that many of these spiritual guides and religious leaders have this brilliant idea that they happen to be better than others. You're not. You're really not that valuable. Okay, I mean, as a spiritual leader, certainly you're required. But for pity's sakes, put it to use. Start protecting your flocks. Start protecting your congregation. Start telling people, work together. Okay, now, I don't usually post videos. I'm going to go find one. There is a video out there that many in the Christian society have undoubtedly heard. And I'll tell you what it is. And then I'm going to see if I can find it, because I'm not good at that. There was a song that I grew up with, and we sang it every Sunday. And the song went, and the first line went, "Up, up with people." Okay, look it up on the internet. I'm going to see if I can find it and do so. But here's the thing. As a spiritual guide, as a religious leader, understand you're working for the same thing. At least that would be the idea. You're working to protect the people around you. Theoretically, you're working to protect your loved ones. Now, if you really don't like your so-called loved ones, that's when you start going, let's cut out the quarantine. Let's quit with the idea of sanitation. Let's quit with the idea of protection. Let's worship the almighty dollar. And see how much worship that almighty dollar does for you when you're dead. Get it through your head. Okay, if you're a spiritual guide, understand the dollar bill or whatever currency you're using. All of that is a form of barter. That's it. What you're talking about bartering with is worse odds than going to Vegas before COVID. You know, you go down to a casino and you gamble with your money that you're going to make a little more. What are you gambling with COVID? You're gambling with your life. And rest assured, you won't get another one this lifetime. So you can go and you can talk about the idea of God will protect us. Well, there's a funny thing. God helps those that help themselves. And he wasn't talking about thieves. Okay. God is providing you with a way of protecting your people, your congregations, your loved ones. Okay. Everybody on the planet is a spiritual guide. If you're a parent, you're a spiritual guide to your children. Okay. And there is not a person on the planet that is not a child, as in they all had parents. Even if they were built in a test tube, they still have parents. So get it through your head. COVID-19 is here. It is real. Never mind the numbers. You know, I was originally thinking of I was originally going to look at statistics, and I'll do one of those later. Okay. Right now, the reality is this. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. People are dying. If you're a spiritual guide, and like I said, every person on the planet is a spiritual guide to someone. Okay. I have, in my profession, I've been at this for 47 years. There aren't many pastors or priests or rabbis or people out there. And in all fairness, my apologies, but I don't know the names of all the different churches, so I don't go there. There are a few that can say, I've been doing this work for 47 years. Now, I'm only 57. Very few spiritual guides actually have a legitimate claim to that. Okay, but because of that, I have in excess of 80,000 clients under my belt. Okay, but if you're a spiritual guide, it's time to be a spiritual guide, and point blank, tell the people the methods the governments are coming up with aren't necessarily the best. They're learning as they go along. Oh my gosh, they're human too. They too are of the same race you are. They're human. Never mind your skin color. Because I'll tell you, COVID ain't paying any attention to it. Take a look, and this is directly to everybody that's heavily into the religious side. Look at the guidelines, the 10 Commandments, whatever your religion calls your spiritual guidelines. There are 3 laws that I pay attention to. Okay. Be true to yourself first. These are karmic laws, by the way. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Now, if you look at the commandments or the guidelines of your religion or your belief structure, and it doesn't matter if we're talking Wiccan, if we're talking Cree, if we're talking the Church of Satan, Christianity, Buddhists, Muslim, the list goes on. All of them are included. look at your guidelines and compare those commandments or those guidelines to those 3 laws. Those are karmic laws. Okay, or what I came to understand as karmic laws. Be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. Okay, now look at your guidelines, see if they fit. Those are the only 3 I worry about, because all the rest fit inside them. Do your own research and check it. But quit telling people that because you're a follower of mine, I'm your pastor, I'm your priest, I'm the head of the church you believe in or the head of the movement you believe in. Therefore, believe me when I tell you, God will protect you. It's a cute thought. I remember of one story where a guy was so into that concept that he was protected by the person he was worshiping, by God. And I'll use the term God for anything because I don't know who he was following, as it were. He was so convinced that God would protect him, he told his entire congregation, I'm bulletproof. God will protect me from an actual physical bullet. Okay, that's how good I sit in his stead, in his eyes. God will protect me from a bullet. And to prove this, I'm going to stand in front of you and I'm going to get this gentleman to shoot me. And God will protect me from that bullet because that is how strong my faith is. And that is how much God thinks of me. They buried the guy that afternoon. He stood there in front of men, women, and children. I am bulletproof because God said I am. So, the guy pulled the trigger. They buried the pastor. Now, are you willing to gamble your life on the fact that the guy that you're following says, I am so connected, God will just blow away this virus. You will be fine. Everybody else on the planet may be dead, but you'll be fine. Are you willing to bet your life on that? Not his life, yours. Are you willing to bet that if you continue the path you're on and you have the religious right that you should be able to go out and congregate wherever you please, okay, and be around the people you desire, are you willing to bet your life on it? Because that's what you're betting. And rest assured, if there's one thing I have come to understand, from my memory, from my recollection, people don't get out of this place alive. You're dead. It's not a question of are you going to die, it's a question of how. And a much bigger question is how are you going to live? Society has come to this point where for the first time in recorded history, all of mankind, every country on the planet is working on the same idea. They're working together to eliminate this virus, to bring it to a stop. And religious leaders from various different walks are going, God will protect us. We should have our right to go out and congregate if we want. Business people are going, we should have our rights to go and have our businesses run, and we should have our right to have that almighty dollar come back to our pocket. All of those rights are totally useless when you're dead. It's not a big word. Now people talk about, don't use 4-letter words. Well, dead's a 4-letter word. And you'll notice I've repeated a number of times because COVID is not bringing you life. What COVID is doing is saying the path you're on, the path you have been on, is completely scrambled. It is time to wake up. It is time for the religious leaders and the spiritual guides to get off your tail feathers and start telling people you're not protected, you don't have rights beyond everybody else. You still have to follow guidelines. You're not a tree in a forest that's unburnable. Okay, you just aren't. And I may be wrong, maybe you are. Maybe you're one of these lucky ones. But are you willing to gamble your life on whether or not you're totally immune to this? Myself, I've been reclusive for years. I'm not willing to gamble my life that much. So understand, this is the time to really look in the mirror and go, Yes, I have my belief. And believe in what you will. Okay. As it tells you in the Bible, and I know this because, well, being Christian background, I can tell you there are things in the Bible I know that I don't know from things like the Quran. But here's the funny part about it. In the Bible, it tells you God is known by many names on many worlds. Do your own research, check it yourself. But understand, it doesn't matter what you call God. What does matter is whether or not you actually love your neighbor as yourself. Now, the only type of people, and I shouldn't say the only, but the majority of people that are out there going, we should just wipe out all the quarantines and we should let everybody get back to life the way it was. They're either, in my opinion, they are either suicidal, trying to find a way to die that doesn't actually cause a problem for them, or doesn't isolate them and say, it's me. Or they really don't like people and they're hoping that billions die. Now, you know, from a spiritual guidance standpoint, from a religious standpoint, having your congregation drop dead is going to be a problem. Okay, you already know that if one of your congregation dies of things like old age, it always rocks the congregation. Picture what happens if you lose 5% of your population because of a virus that you could have guided people to avoid, and you chose not to. You chose to turn a blind eye and say, it won't happen to us. It's amazing the staggering number of people that tell me it won't happen to me. And no sooner do they say that than something happens. On a positive side, I hear a lot of people going, when they go through a really volatile divorce, they go, I'll never get married again. I'll never be able to fall in love again. No sooner do they do that than they end up finding somebody that completely knocks their feet out from under them, and all of a sudden, they've got something to work with. Okay, now, absolutely, go through your religious approaches. Do your worship. Okay, sit down, pray as much as you can. As I said earlier, I've prayed for decades for the human race to actually pull their head out of the sand and start working with each other. Realize that peace is not got through superior firepower. It is not got by the name of whichever religion you're following. And that is not how you get peace. You get peace by treating others as you desire them to be treated. You get a unified society by setting laws up that are equal for everybody, that are not governed by, because you've got X number of dollars, you're better. Okay. Spiritual leaders, it is time to stand in front of your congregation, hopefully by video or by microphone, I don't care. Just keep your distance. And start telling people, forget what your pocketbook looks like. Forget what color you are. You're on the planet, you're theoretically human. Therefore, God loves you. God loves all his children. Understand, the little chickadee, the seagull, the rabbit, they're all God's children. Even the elm tree, the oak tree, they're all God's children. God loves all of them. Now, at this point, COVID is affecting people. It is now reportedly affecting animals as well. Okay, hopefully it doesn't get to the point where it starts killing off the plants. That could be a problem. But it's time to start telling people, quit with the idea of, you're my congregation. Your congregation is everybody on the planet. Okay, now, I started off a very firm believer in the church. My family ran into problems. I walked away from the church. I became agnostic for the longest time, as in, I gave up on organized religion because I saw such hypocrisy in it. I later became a reverend. Okay, so if we look at the idea of a reverend or a minister, is more to the point. Okay, I became minister. That makes every person on this planet my congregation. Okay, I came here for one reason. One reason only, to help people understand that everybody on this planet is the same. Money is not the problem. Greed, superiority complexes, ego, fear. That is a problem, and it unites everybody. Well, COVID has given everybody on the planet something to focus on. So I will ask you again, please like my video, subscribe to my channel, okay, and get the message out to people. Share it with as many people as you can. There is a list of ways of contacting me directly below, okay, below the video. Use any one of them. I will do my best to get to you or to cover a topic that you say that you would like to hear about. The reality is, I'm here because of you. I did not personally want to step into the public spotlight. I've seen way too much. I became a recluse to avoid it. But the reality of a spiritual leader, a spiritual guide, which I have said in repeated cases, I think every video that I've done recently, like since February of this year, has stated I am a spiritual guide and a paranormal adept. As a spiritual guide, this means I'm aiming at reaching you. Now, I have you and your friends, and I don't care what other church you go to. I really don't. Okay, wherever you can find help, wherever you can find support. I'm not perfect. You know, I could be called a lot of things. Perfect is one of the ones that would be very far off the track. But since I am here, my goal is very simple. To get into, right now my subscription level is pretty low. My goal at this point is very simple. Build my congregation, as in reach out to everybody out there. Stay going to whatever church, stay going to whatever temple you go to. I'm not asking you to follow only me. Go and talk to them. What I'm saying is follow my videos. Watch what's coming up. Essentially, I've been forced into the limelight. Now, I could have kept arguing the point, but unfortunately, every time I see something like somebody going, we should take all the boundaries out of the way, quit wearing the gloves, quit wearing the mask, because they don't work. Well, guess what? They're a better shot at survival than nothing. Okay, if you want your kids to build their immune system, and you've got to stay indoors, here's a really odd idea. Let them play with dirt on your balcony. Let them play with dirt in your bathtub, for that matter. Okay, dirt has a lot of viruses in it that in today's world people are missing. But you, as a spiritual guide, or a spiritual leader, or a religious leader, get your head out of the sand and start telling your people, as many of you are. This is directed more at the people that are going, we're protected because we worship so-and-so. And, you know, our God will protect us. You don't have to worry, and mankind, you know, the governments are blowing this all out of proportion. The media is not giving us the right information. Okay, get it through your head. You're not protected by anything except your own ego, and that ain't working well. The only reason I'm coming out here putting it the way I am, and rest assured, this is not the direction I was planning on going with life. I was not planning on sitting here taking a look at the world the way it was, the way it is, and go, you people need a wake-up call. I became reclusive for a reason. Okay, and that was because I could not handle the way that people were. So I backed out of everything. Okay. However, in that time, I was constantly, almost on a daily basis, praying that God would find a way to get mankind to work together, regardless of where they were on the planet, regardless of their skin color, their religious belief, but work together, protect each other, protect the planet. That's what you're here for. You're here to learn, to remember. So, again, the goal here for me, and this is a very recent goal, is to get the message out. Well, the only way I'm going to do that, because I sure ain't going to be able to travel right now, is through my YouTube channel. Okay, so like the video, subscribe to my channel, and spread the word. The more people that we can get to understand that this is a serious situation, but we are going to get through it, and we do have ways of doing it. I can point all sorts of things out, and I have a list of videos I'm still going to be doing. Okay, for those of you that pay any attention to clothing, this video is the third one that I've done back to back. Okay, which is why I'm dressed the same way. Okay, it's because of the fact they're all done back to back. I'm not putting them all out in one day. I'm keeping these short for a reason. Well, I call it short. This has been going on. Anyway, that being said, by no means am I finished. There is more to come. Same as we will get through COVID. But join me next time. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.